Hello, everybody. I'm Del Shores.
And I'm Emerson Collins, and you're watching The Del and Emerson Show.
Straight talk.
Real gay. Y'all, it's already a day. The fire alarm was going off at Del's university.
Yes, it was going, just as we were about to start, the fire alarm goes off, and I am going, oh my God, I literally said, do I have to vacate? And the head of my department, Brett, said, no, if you smell smoke, just jump out my window.
And in fairness, it's probably your fault anyway. That's a lot of flame.
It is a lot of flame. It was a test. It was a test, and they're done. I think we're all good.
How are you, Del Shores?
Oh my God.
I'm really asking. I haven't talked to you literally since our last show.
I know we always have to fake it, and we don't have to fake it because we have not talked to each other. I haven't even talked to you about your show, which I have not seen yet, but I'm going to. I have my link. I've been busy.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway, I'm doing all right. I am down to this is Tuesday. I have 4 more days here, and I am having a good time with my students, and am ready to come home as well. So
what'd you do this weekend?
I taught on the and then we did this sorted team sorted lives with Desert AIDS, and we have great news. We raised $26,120, and we are currently the #1 team. So if it stands,
how much longer can people contribute?
They never quite tell us, so it's always like, wait, they just went above us because Patrick Stewart Properties is just right on our ass. It's been neck and neck, back and forth. So I don't know. I think at least another week.
Good.
So if you didn't give, feel free to. But we are happy. Thank you, Art Gregory and Michael Taylor Gray, for being amazing co-captains. But your show, I want to hear. How did it go? Did y'all sing Parody?
Fun. What?
I said, did y'all sing Parody?
Well, I like to think so. We did have an absolute blast. It was so much fun, so silly. And everybody who came, thank y'all so much. I see some of y'all are even here. Rob was there. Hi, Rob.
What was that?
Oh, that's my show playing in the background. I was going to show you. I was like, why do I hear me? What is happening? There's a ghost in the machine.
You are in hell, and your hell is to hear yourself sing this show over and over for the next eternity.
Literally, like that's just it. Here, I'll show you, because we did costume changes. So we made, we turned our living room into a little set. See, that's the wreath we made in the background. That's our villain wreath. We had costume changes.
That is quite the event.
I put on a pumpkin shirt that Scott Nevins gave me because it was too small to fit his shoulders.
And his biceps, I'm sure, yes.
His Beauty and the Beast parody. Like we were not casual for this living room cabaret. It's our festive holiday shirt.
Blake has a little mustache going, it looks like.
That's for his actual Halloween costume, but it it takes some time because his doesn't grow the way mine does. So
it looks so much fun. I cannot wait to see it, Emerson. I heard only good things.
So we did have a delightful time, and I know lots of you who were here from the show came, and I really appreciate it. We did have an absolute blast. So yeah, it was really fun, and we've already started thinking about our holiday show. I just realized, what's great about doing living room shows? You don't have to take your stuff anywhere. There's no venue set up. There's nobody to worry about. It's just like wake up, rearrange the living room, and put on a show. No
flights to catch.
Nothing.
You know what, Emerson? You just reminded me of everything I miss. I miss going and setting up and going and checking into the hotel. And I do miss it. But I have to say, I think it's very inspirational here, teaching here, and the students, a lot of them very despondent about not being able to perform. You can perform. You just have to figure it out. And you guys did such a great job, obviously, in with costumes and everything. So,
And it was a fun little distraction. I feel like this Halloween week, y'all, let's lean in to the witchiness, to the costumery, because we are only 7 days from this election and the nonsense is blowing out the roof. It's just a lot.
oh, lots of desperation. I do have to say though, today I just sat and just turned everything off and watched President Obama speak. And I thought, that's a real president. We need a real president. We need somebody who cares about us and not just about themselves and their agenda.
Yep. Well, and on the heels of last night, rushing that Amy Coney Barrett confirmation in, she was done. They had a big old another super spreader party to swear her in, and that's done. You know, we talk about all the impact of things, and that is an unchangeable thing. She is now on the court until she decides that she does not want to be on the court. And we saw last night. Right. Yes. Those are the. That's the other.
Well, I didn't mean that I'm wishing. I'm not even that evil. For her, I don't wish that.
Right. Well, but I mean, and she's young, so we're looking at 40 years. You know, this is not. Soon, and even just yesterday, and the decision they made about the Wisconsin ballots, like y'all, as we look at voting, as you talk to people about their votes, their plans to vote, we are now past the point where important people think it's safe to mail in your ballot. If you have a paper ballot that you were planning to mail in, you need to take it and drop it off somewhere. They just decided yesterday, 5-3, that Wisconsin ballots must be in by 8 p.m. on election day. No 2-3 days after. That the Democrats wanted, they wanted even longer. So really pay attention. And if your deadline is on election day, don't trust the Postal Service anymore. Take it to a polling place and drop it off. Check your local regulations.
Today, I have to say something about our young people, Emerson, because I talked to my classes yesterday. All of these kids are voting. All of them. And it was just, in many voting in opposition to what their families are voting and getting a lot of shit for it. And today I had lunch with 3 of my former students, and I asked them, I said, are y'all voting? And Roshane said, I already voted. And Anna said, I'm driving home. I'm driving home because I'm registered in another county and I'm voting. And Emmanuel said, I wonder if I can still vote early, or am I going to have to do it on the left? And I said, we're walking to the polling place up the street after lunch. And we did, and he checked, and he can vote today later on, and he's going in because it's the last day to vote, early voting here in Louisiana.
Oh, so there's and then it cuts off, and then it's only the day of.
That's right. I don't know why. I really don't understand.
Every state's different, so make sure you know how your state works. I've been doing my texting all week for Biden. I will share, I had one. Sometimes it's texting to see if people are registered, to see if they're voting, to try to get them to do stuff, because this weekend is the biggest weekend for calling, right? For making phone banks, for doing calls, pushing people to get out to the polls. But so I was sending texts that were asking people if they would phone bank. So I was texting Democrats to ask them to phone bank. And I had a very sweet woman in Oregon say, I'm so sorry. My husband just had a transplant. We're still at the hospital, so I can't. And I was like, ma'am, you don't need to be worrying about that. I just said, sending strength to you and healing to him, and you take care of him. And she was like, oh, only a Democrat would say that. And I said, well, we will worry about this over here. You worry about him over there. We will all do our part. She said, we've already put in our votes because we knew it was happening. And it was just sort of lovely to also be chatting with people, that I don't know, that we are all in this together. I know it feels really dark, and there's a lot of fear around what could happen and how it's going to go. And all of those are very real, but remembering that we are mighty and we are strong, and we can get this across this finish line together for Biden and Harris, and for the Senate, and for our down ballot people.
I was very impressed with my students, but not only that, but seeing the statistics of how many more are voting in that 20 to 30-year-old bracket than did in 2016, and especially since 2008. It has really, really increased. So that's hopeful, and hopefully most of them are Democrats. But it's a scary time. I have to say though, I'm so impressed that you've been doing that, because I think many more are doing phone banking and texting, because I have never had so many texts ever. Now, I have a feeling it's because I have been in the time where I don't have as much money, I have been giving more money to various candidates.
Campaigns.
Yeah, I was going to say, I couldn't think of the word campaigns, candidates. It's fuzzy. But anyway, I just hoped, and I love that you communicate. Sometimes I communicated with one. I think I said it on the show, where I actually used the word motherfucker in a text back. We got to get this motherfucker out of office. And the woman, she wrote me back. She goes, "I agree. Yes, thank you."
Yeah.
And I thought, I bet that's the only time you got the word motherfucker in a text today.
I mean, probably not. You were not alone in the strong language feelings. But it is, and when people, like, voting is important, and the goal is to win, and then to hold these candidates accountable. Like, I know there's people who are frustrated in all of the process, and voting is just one piece of what it takes to create change in our country and in our culture, but it is a very important piece. So this is the moment to not sit in embarrassment, and to check in with the people and make sure everyone's participating.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Here is the LGBTQ news and nonsense. So thank you, whether you're watching us on the Facebook, on YouTube, or on Periscope, on Twitter. Hello, say hi, share the broadcast. We know it's still earlier in the day for some of y'all, so hello to our later watchers. And we'll get on to the news.
Yes, we will. We had one of our buddies, Fortune Feemsters, got married. She married her fiance, Jacqueline Smith, not the Charlie's Angels one, just to be clear. It's a different one. And they've been engaged since 2018. Look at that beautiful picture. They were originally intended to get married in the summer of 2020 until the pandemic. Fortune told People magazine, "I'm not going to lie, there were some nerves about the Supreme Court after RBG died. All these people started talking about gay marriage again. On the first day of their session, 2 of the justices brought up gay marriage. I think I had posted something on Instagram, something like, 'Oh man, this is nerve-wracking as a gay person.' All these people were like, 'Go get married now.' Who knows what will happen? Hopefully marriage equality is here to stay, but we wanted to be more proactive and get married while we know we can." Fortune and Jax weren't the only ones. Last week, couples flocked to City Hall in St. Louis, Missouri to get married before Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed. Lot's wife, pastor. Now I had to look that up. That's the name of the church. Lot's wife is Tori Jameson said, "I worry about all our rights being rolled back if she gets in, but I don't have a lot of political power. I'm just a community pastor." She decided to offer free wedding ceremonies to any couple who wanted to take them up on their offer while we still have the chance. As news spread on social media about the pop-up elopements, the wider community turned out to support the initiative. Florists, bakers, photographers, decorators, and officiants volunteered their services for joyful ceremonies that touched the heart of the city. And all 16 couples were wed. And photographer Alicia Hoyt took stunning photos of the couples like Cole and Lawrence. Look at them, so happy. So
I know it's
weddings.
One, I've known Fortune through Just Martindale since we first moved to LA. They were in a improv group together all the way back, and so it was really lovely to see her and Jax get to go ahead and go through with their wedding. And I feel like that's really real for some people. Thinking about, there is not a case, just FYI, y'all, there is not a case currently waiting for the Supreme Court about marriage equality specifically. It would take some sort of challenge to move through the court system to provide an opportunity for that. So it isn't as though on next week, Amy Coney Barrett's like getting rid of same-sex marriage. That's not.
She's not going to come in and say, "Let's get it. Let's do it, boys. Let's do it."
Announce. It's not an edict that can be just like, I don't think we should have done this and overturn it. But it is very real that there are a number of cases affecting our community that are waiting and working their way up through the system, that this new 6-3 majority for the conservatives on the court will have a huge impact on. So I really do understand. I think about, it's like you in California, when California marriage first passed, and you got married during the window. I like these.
By the way, today is in 2003 and 2008 was my wedding date. So I would have been married 17 years, not legally 17 years, but in 2008, we chose the same day to get remarried legally. And then we got divorced because that's our right to.
Absolutely. We're supposed to be able to do all of the steps of the process. But so I do understand people, excited, wanting to make sure, and also people that are a little bit afraid. I want to, because it's selfish. Michael said, I forgot to see the show on Sunday. Can I still sign up to see it? Michael, yes, I still have the link to the show. So if you'll just Venmo me $20, the ticket price, I will send you the link and you can watch it at your convenience, sir. And related.
And Venmo me $5. I've kind of been in a jam.
That's right. Well, it's funny. Whatever. It's our show. I've been thinking about after the election on Tuesday, while we have all of this engaged energy, I'm looking at new places to focus my energy related to the issues we're fighting on. Because if we win this election, it does not end on Wednesday. And I feel like there's some people who are looking forward to life going back to quote normal. I mean, it's not pandemic, lockdown, etc. But keeping the energy of being this engaged in our political process, in our social issues, in the issues that we want our representatives to address, and supporting the organizations that do that work every day while the rest of us, live our lives. So I'm looking at where to put my energy after as well. That's just a random thought.
And also, we could be writing a series. That would be nice.
Yes. Yes. I want to be very busy, but also directing funds and energy in support of the causes addressing the issues this election was supposed to be about.
I agree.
And continuing on marriage, when the Obergefell-SCOTUS decision happened, it invalidated same-sex marriage bans. The weird thing is it doesn't remove those laws from the books in the various states that have them. It just makes them unenforceable, essentially. So Nevada is one of the states that still has a same-sex marriage ban. Well, this election day, question 2 is on the ballot, and it would repeal the constitutional amendment against same-sex marriage. A pair of Karens, actually. See, not all Karens are bad. Activists Karen Vibe and Karen Goodley have for years led the pro-LGBTQ charge to remove that amendment that was approved in 2000 and 2002 in Nevada. In 2012, they started a challenge to the ban that led them all the way to the Court of Appeals. And in October 2014, they won their case, and they were the first same-sex couple in the state to get married. So Vibe said, we have this tiny little detail in our Constitution that changed 18 years ago, and now we need to remove that language to make sure we are abiding by our current laws. So voting yes on question 2 in Nevada will get rid of the language in the Constitution at all. And I love that, so that we don't have the lingering vestiges. People have been doing the same thing with racist things, right, in various state constitutions. So yay, Karens, positive Karen news.
Absolutely. And in amazing news, Tony winner and outspoken icon and my buddy, Betty Lynn Buckley, has written a new open letter to Trump-Pence campaign. And I'm going to read it. I'm not going to try to imitate the legendary Betty Buckley, but I want you to know I tweeted her today that we were doing this, and she tweeted me back and said, thank you.
I just figured you don't have to do it as Betty Buckley, but I feel like you and she share a core of righteous pontification,
yes.
and that you can certainly do justice to her work.
So here we go. Despite numerous pleas and a formal cease and desist from the composer, you've continued to use my rendition of Memory from Cats at your campaign rallies. We must insist that you stop this misappropriation of music and performance that has nothing to do with the representation of your regime. Your presidency, complete devoid of empathy for humanity, is the very antithesis of art. Thanks to your disastrous mishandling of the pandemic, Broadway must remain shuttered until at least May 30th, 2021. The same super spreader events at which you blame my recordings, that you blare my recordings, are undoubtedly exasperating the problem. So you are exploiting the work of Broadway artists as events that may well spread the very virus that is keeping us unemployed in the first place. Of course, this cruel irony shouldn't be surprising. Cruelty comes so naturally to you and your enablers. I cannot sit idly by and witness my work being used to promote your fascist agenda. You've been absconded with the words of Dr. Fauci, taken out of context in your campaign ads. And despite his protests, you blunder in your dismissal of science and common sense for the greater good. I imagine you'll ignore this repeated request to cease and desist, and you'll ignore all of the requests that preceded it from me, Elton John, Bruce Springsteen, the Rolling Stones, Phil Collins, and many other musicians. I'm getting riled up, who are as appalled as we are to be associated with your deplorable mendacity and ill behavior. The good news is that we, the voters, have the ultimate say. We will reject you at the polls, and by January, the utter hell of your presidency, your criminal enablers and regime will be nothing more than a memory. Sincerely, Betty Buckley, a proud Texas Democrat. Yes, Betty Buckley.
Well, I love that so much. I just love the evisceration, just people who have great power with words. It's just amazing.
And if you don't follow her on Twitter, oh, you must. She speaks our language. I adore her so much. So, hi, Betty.
And it's funny. I follow, her brother Norman Buckley is a huge TV director and out. And it's so funny. He followed her to Los Angeles when she was doing 8 is Enough. He posted some story yesterday about working at the Chateau Marmont, living at the Chateau Marmont when he first got to LA. And I just think what an incredible family. And their mother is 94 or something in Fort Worth. And she's always out and about on the town. I mean, the Buckleys are power forces.
And let me tell you, Betty Buckley just had shoulder surgery, so she had to write this letter, possibly on painkillers.
Oh, if anything, I feel like that helps. Why not? Todd said, "Hey, I'm out of Facebook jail. I couldn't respond, but I watch every show. There's nothing more frustrating. We are so glad that you are back."
I think Todd was also in the hospital, or his husband. So I hope all is well in your world.
He said he got in trouble because he told Trump supporters to vote on the wrong day. He didn't even cuss this time. Now, y'all, that's hilarious. But fake news is bad from any direction.
He told them, y'all, don't forget to vote on November 5th.
But also, if you can be fooled by that, it's your own stupidity.
Really? I mean, really. It's I loved it.
Well, welcome back, Todd. And in following elections, we're doing all we can to support flipping the Senate and our LGBTQ down ballot candidates. And there was in Texas, Omar Leos is a member of the school board for San Antonio's Northeast Independent School District, and he's been targeted with anti-gay messaging in support of his conservative opponent, Ione McGinty. Mail-outs distributed by the Fundamentalist San Antonio Family Association. That's a mouthful. Anytime there's a family association, you can almost always just assume that they're bigots because what they mean is just their kind of family. Anybody that's just in it for family doesn't need to be when people say protect the family, they always mean just for families that look like theirs. But that's a poster. And it described Leos, who's gay, describing him as married to a same-sex man with quotation marks around the word married. Now, because they didn't include his name, that's why they ended up with this awkward married to a same-sex man. It also
the wording.
I know. It's so much effort to be a bigot. It also claims he voted to reaffirm radical sex ed and highlights he has no children in the district. Now, he's lived there with his husband for 11 years, works as a fine arts coordinator for schools in another part of San Antonio, whereas Ione is a tennis coach with no listed qualifications beyond a high school diploma, also has no children enrolled in the district schools because she homeschools her 6 children. Well, a local gay resident found this flyer and said, me and my also gay husband can't even escape homophobic propaganda in our mailbox. Don't vote for this horrible lady, please. Leos responded saying, I'm surprising they're using homophobic tactics to go after voters. It's insulting. But you know what? I'm proud of my marriage. I'm proud that I'm able to marry legally in the US. Now, McGinty declined to condemn the messages, however, claiming that people that offended by them were heterophobic. Ma'am, it's not a thing. It's really not a thing. So much work. Gosh, you know, it's hard running for any office and then having like bigotry for racism, transphobia, homophobia, you know, when you're running for something from a marginalized community and you have to deal with that bigotry on top of just the normal hard things of running for office.
I just love that wording. It just cracks me up. It reminds me of the
same-sex man.
It's like our anti-equality revival. It's just like, let's just show what a bigot you are. So, all right. Well, you know, while I was away, because trust me, they would not do this if I were in town. On Friday night, 40 to 70 people participated in a sad, pathetic march billed by log cabin Republicans as gays and housewives take over WeHo. You're going to have you need a lot more than 40 to 70 to take over WeHo, boys.
Correct.
They met at the Pacific Design Center and then marched up to Santa Monica Boulevard chanting "Gays for Trump" and then past the Abbey. Few of them wore face masks. A bunch of mask holes, even though they're required in WeHo that you can get fined. And then they trolled up and down the boulevard, some getting some very angry shouts in front of Fiesta Cantina. You know, what's that tequila kicks in. Katie barred the door. The whole thing lasted for about an hour. The event was peaceful, but photojournalist Chelsea Lauren posted a photo of sheriff's deputies posing with a MAGA protester holding a Trump sign. She tweeted, I've been to numerous rallies on both sides of this point, and I have to say that the difference in treatment during fully peaceful protest is drastic, to say the least. Sheppy Shine, a candidate for West Hollywood City Council, replied that deputies' actions were not in line with our values in West Hollywood. The deputies' actions immediately sparked outrage as people passing by stopped to question why on-duty officers were appearing to endorse a political agenda. One conservative attendee claimed before the protest, deputies told us to get loud and proud and that they were proud of us. One of the organizers said that they made history because when they had a Gays for Trump rally in WeHo 2 years ago, only 5 people showed up. Well, good for them. They got 35 more.
I love that they called it a win because last time they only had 5. But it's interesting because they didn't publicize this anywhere. I looked. It was like they wanted to do it, but they didn't want enough people to know about it that there could be a big reaction. And it sort of seems like they would want one so they could play the victim. It was very like weird and like silly, but I agreed with them. You know, it's uncomfortable seeing the sheriffs like pal around with protesters not wearing masks. I feel like
when they should be fining them, they should be writing them a ticket.
When everybody was making such a big deal out of wearing masks for all the Black Lives Matter protests, for all of the rallies, because 10,000 people were at that same intersection, you know, 2 months ago. And Sheppy Shine, I love that she said that. I voted for Sheppy for West Hollywood City Council. Young and progressive and exciting. I loved seeing her, but I wanted to show a little video just so y'all could see, because at a certain point, it's just sort of like, I guess y'all are just like, yeah, it is. Because look at this. Like, it's just sort of wandering through the crosswalk. Like, I feel like there's so much of just doing it for the Instagram. Like, that's everybody. That's the whole crew.
That's it. That's it.
All you get. Yeah, it was almost funny that no one bothered to like protest against them because it was like, okay, sure, y'all do that.
And so there's about 40,000 residents in West Hollywood, and they got, what is that, 0.0001%?
Also, there were a couple of like conservative gay influencer types. There was like, I feel like most of the people were from outside of West Hollywood anyway. I mean, let's be honest. They rolling on in. Well, all right, y'all. Well, here on this Friday, we are marching merrily along.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
Nothing means anything anymore. Remember last week when I thought it was the end of your first week in Louisiana? Like, time is a meaningless concept. I have no idea. I only know it's 7 days.
I just know because I am actually working right now. So yes. I go, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
I'm like, that seems right. That sounds good. Well, if you enjoy the show, because we sure enjoy doing it, and we do put in a good bit of work to bring you the stories we think are important and the stories we think are silly, we should laugh together. You can send us a tip on Venmo to @EmersonCollins or on PayPal to beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com. Thank you to Michael Shane, who already tipped this afternoon morning. We do appreciate it. It is meaningful. We are working hard, but as we say every time, don't give us any money you will miss, and make sure you've given to everything useful you can think of before you get to us.
Yes, especially with this election. If you say, I'm going to give to Jamie Harrison in lieu of Del Shores and Emerson Collins, I would say give to Jamie Harrison.
That's the other, I've text for Biden and Harris, but Jamie Harrison's campaign, that's the other one. I text weekly for Jamie when they do their big banks. That's the other one I'm really personally invested in addition to all of the down ballot LGBT. Ricky Benquero we talked about in Florida. I watched him do a sort of like gay officials with Chevron Jones and Brian Sims. Brian Sims was camping, and he joined this call for the three of them promoting LGBT down ballot people. I'm still running that. If you want to contribute to those candidates we've talked about on the show, that is still available.
Yes. You've done so well too.
I know. We got up to $2,400. And of course, we posted all of the individual links to the show. So that's just to people who did it my easy way. I know everyone's been contributing where they can to everyone they can. And these last days, y'all, really do matter. I know when you look at, they have millions of dollars, but the amount of money that will get blown in the next 7 days on commercials and on news placements for people who are so busy in regular life that they haven't had time to think about the election until right at this weekend. That is why this last push is so important for all these campaigns, especially these ones that are really close, like Texas, like Georgia, Montana, and Kansas, and
Pennsylvania.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, not at the presidential. I've just the Senate ones, because we got to get both, y'all.
Yes, absolutely. And here you can look at it this way. Honestly, you can go, well, since they're not passing that stimulus bill, this will at least stimulate the economy a little bit by getting some money flowing, some money flowing.
I tell you what, though, this stupid confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett and how quickly they were able to do that. I mean, Mitch McConnell crawled out of the crypt to get this stuff done. Those hands are terrifying. And yet now we're going to go on vacation until after the election. The pandemic assistance that so many people struggling to pay bills and rent, whose jobs still aren't fully back in place, and people who were out of work for so long, and that we can take care of the Supreme Court and not stop and say, what does it take to take care of the actual Americans, so many of whom are struggling financially as we head into this colder season. The likelihood of the pandemic escalating in various places makes my brain bleed.
And both sides need to take responsibility. They need to talk more. They need to cross that fucking aisle and do things. It's ridiculous. I got in trouble. I said something in little Zoom thing the other day. I said something about wishing that some of our senators would get COVID, and people got mad at me. Just one person got mad at me. And I said, no, I don't mean ventilator COVID. I just mean, just a little bit, just to remind them that this is all real, just a little bit, a little bit of a lesson, a little more than Trump.
It is mind-boggling that there's so many people bought into that disinformation campaign that it takes someone they know getting a disease for them to believe that it's real and that it's serious. It It's just breathe.
Well, here's what bothered me about it, Emerson, truly, because, here you have the president of the United States who has to be responsible for many deaths because of his anti-mask bullshit. And then, but if I say that I hope that, Mitch McConnell gets COVID, just a mild case to teach him a lesson, then I get in trouble. But I don't know. Don't get me started. There's just not enough time.
Yes, it does always seem like when the rules don't, when the decorum doesn't apply to the most powerful elected official in the world, it's sort of like, it's like, I don't know, how do you tell your kids not, to behave when it's like, when you have that example up there? It's like, we have to do better in spite of these horrible people. All right, down in Dallas, the Dallas Voice sort of shared this bonkers story, and it shows you, that we are strong at times and have a lot of influence. There was a tavern, the Redfields Tavern in Dallas. The Dallas Voice released an audio tape of the owners of it instructing a manager to stop hiring gay male servers. According to the recording, they'd seen an upsurge in business from queer customers since the start of the pandemic, but the owners were concerned about the number of gay employees. One said, "We are not going to try to be a gay bar to keep our business up." Later adding the group has 30-something investors that they did not tell them we were going to open a gay bar. The manager on the recording said, "I feel like we've hired people that are qualified more than anything because we needed better service. We got better service." One of the owners pushed back saying, "I'm not hearing that the people we are hiring are really adding much as far as quality service. That's the feedback I've gotten from people." The manager responded by asking if the pair wanted her to fire everyone. One responded, "We get female servers." At one point, this is my favorite part, the woman explained she'd been told, accurately, profits would soar if Redfields was a gay bar, but that she was not trying to make the staff gay. One said, "Yes, you are." And she says, "If the gay crowd gets wind that we don't like gay people, we will have no business." One of the owners says, "If we hire someone and they don't fit our image, then they won't be on the schedule or we'll fire them." Well, the community in Dallas found out. This recording was released. The Voice did a big story. That's interesting because there's definitely bigotry in that happening, but they sent an email that the owner sent right after that meeting 3 weeks ago where he said, "I wanted to send this immediately after our meeting yesterday, but it seemed like everyone was a little exhausted. I really want to clarify something because it continues to disturb me that the conversation about our staff, what we say sometimes, is mislabeled or misunderstood. Nobody, including Scott or myself or any partner or anyone on our staff, cares about anyone else on our staff's sexual orientation. It's a non-issue." So it seems like they knew that they said some things and wanted to clean it up in the moment before this all got released later. They sent a statement to the Voice saying Redfield strongly denies the notion that it doesn't want members of the LGBTQ community as its patrons. That's simply not true. We cannot say the following any more strongly. All members of the gay community are welcome at Redfields. Well, a photo got sent to the Dallas Voice of the sign at Redfields Tavern being painted over. The wife of one of the owners said that Redfields Tavern operations are suspended at this time for the safety of our employees, who immediately began receiving threatening phone calls the first night, resulting in us closing early and not resuming operations since that time. We're not sure what our plans are. I mean, it's painted over the sign. It looks like, I don't know if they're shutting down or if they're reopening under another name, but don't be a bigot.
So are they saying that they got threats from the gay community?
From people who saw the story. Yeah. I mean, I believe that there are terrible people in every community. People on the internet are bonkers in every community. And you can find out the address and phone numbers of them because it's on the liquor license. And, in any time people are upset about something, there are some people who will be crazy. And to be clear, that is not okay. Harassing an individual over a business decision. This is not a direct hate crime. This is bigotry that there are official avenues to deal with.
Yes, and I'm all for not patronizing this place. I don't think I'll be going there when I'm in Dallas because whatever the fuck they said, their big spin on cleaning this up. Obviously, they said what they said. It was recorded, it was documented, and it was awful. It was terrible what they said.
But it's also, I don't know, I guess I'm at the point where I hope all of those employees are okay and the gay people who worked there and patronized there. There's a bunch of other bars in the neighborhood for people to go to. So hopefully the employees are all okay with the jobs. But there's also an amusing thing for me in watching two straight guys basically try to say, we don't mind having some of y'all. We just don't want so many that people think we're a gay bar. I feel like that's the needle they were trying to thread. And just the bigotry popped out.
Yeah.
So looks like they're not there no more. It's not there no more.
And I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's not there no more. Like Moby Dick's, it's not there no more. From Southern Baptist Sissies, said by Mr. Leslie Jordan. For y'all who did not get that reference. But I mean, it's just like I don't feel. I mean, I don't think it's right. You're right, Emerson. It's not right for anybody to receive threats. We've had that, or I've had that in my career. It doesn't feel good to be threatened. But that's they did reap what they sowed in a way,
Absolutely.
So, and they didn't think anybody was listening. And some employee or who in that meeting said,
Y'all,
fuck
it's
you.
a half an hour recording. I did not listen to the whole thing.
So somebody pressed record on that iPhone and leaked it. That's exactly what happened. All right, there's some TikTok news. They announced to plan a removal of hateful posts and start cracking down even more on anti-LGBT content, white supremacist and Nazi content, and videos that spread falsehoods about Jewish people, Muslims, and other minority groups. The blog said, as part of our efforts to prevent hateful ideologies from taking root, we will stem the spread of coded language and symbols that can normalize hateful speech and behavior. When it comes to anti-LGBT content, that now includes videos that promote harmful and discredited practices like conversion therapy. TikTok maintained that while it already removes Nazi content, it felt the need to enlarge the ban to remove neighboring ideologies such as white nationalism, white genocide theory, as well as statements that have their origin in these ideologies. The platform will also take action to remove videos that contain misinformation and hurtful stereotypes about Jewish, Muslim, and other communities. Good for TikTok.
Absolutely. And because they walk a line of sometimes, banning content or removing videos that can feel a little against the LGBTQ community. So it's good, this kind of statements. It's a little bit like Instagram. Like they're a little bit afraid of the sexuality of queer people, if you will. And also, do you watch the TikToks very often? I just see it when they show up other places, because there's amazing information about like elections, about communities in there, but also like 50% of TikTok seems like people trying to invent the Macarena to me. It's like these little strange choreography things that are like, they don't make them that hard so that everybody else can do it, so everybody will get in on their dance. And so I just feel like they're like one.
Yeah.
And then you just see like thousands of the same video. But it makes me happy.
I only like it when someone sends me something that makes me laugh.
Yes. Adam Schiff, he's my representative. So
no, that's my buddy.
Our other favorite, Adam Schiff, here and said hi.
Hi, Adam.
It just always makes me smile. He's my representative. I did vote to send him back to work. And a quick little story out of the UK that's a little terrifying and a reminder to be careful about who and how you meet. An Irish court just convicted a heterosexual couple, Joel O'Shea and Diana Christia, of the murder of an Irish dancer, Adrian Murphy. They met him on Grindr and drugged him and robbed him using a substance with the nickname Devil's Breath. They were arrested in June 2019 following the discovery of his body in a London flat. They had tried to steal his identity to procure $80,000 worth of diamonds. They used Grindr to lure men into meeting the man, intending to drug and rob them, believing they'd be too embarrassed to tell the police. And then she would be there to sell the goods. Well, they were caught on CCTV footage. And they investigated the drug overdose of another man the couple allegedly also robbed after meeting him on Grindr. But he survived and helped the police identify him. Murphy, the dancer's brother, said, "The world is full of sameness, but this could not be said of our brother Adrian. He brought love and art of dance to thousands of young people all over the world. He made so many loyal friends who are so sad at his untimely passing, as he was an inspirational Irishman who was a gifted dancer and choreographer." Now the poison, because I wanted to know, Devil's Breath is a slang name for the chemical scopolamine, which is derived from the nightshade plants. It's become a popular drug among thieves and rapists who use it to incapacitate victims. It was found in Murphy's system and in a drink can. So just another reminder, y'all. You know, even right now, it's hard to meet people, period. But if you are meeting people that you don't know from the internet, ensuring that your first encounter with them is a public encounter, or you do like I used to do when I was horning in the middle of the night. I had a friend that I would text the address to that I was going to and say, if you don't hear from me in 2 hours, because let's be honest, it was going to take less than that. This is where I am. So y'all just be careful.
Or was. Yeah. So, all right. And then another awful story. Police in the city of Narbonne, is that the way you say the name of the city? Narbonne, France, have arrested a 52-year-old man for threatening to kill his daughter in front of a group of shocked onlookers. His 19-year-old daughter had phoned him earlier that day to come out as a lesbian, according to the French newspaper Independent. I missed the L. Yes, Independent. The daughter had entered into a relationship with another woman. She began coming out to her friends on her college campus and eventually phoned her father to come out to him also. The man later told investigators that he was trembling with anger when she came out with him. The daughter said that he threatened to kill her during the phone conversation. He literally hopped in his car, drove 500 miles from the city of Strasbourg to Narbonne. Then when he arrived, he found his daughter outside a building on campus and began to verbally attack her, threatening to cut her throat. She managed to escape inside the building, and a university employee blocked the man from entering while she called the police. Police arrested the suspect for harassment and making threats. The woman, her girlfriend, and her mother have subsequently filed charges. A spokesperson for the public prosecutor's office said that the man had a disproportionate reaction, to his daughter's coming out. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of disproportionate.
You know, and it's just such a reminder, you know, as we work at as those of us in activism, those of us that are out and have been out a long time, and with all the progress we make, to remind people that just like with the election, right, we're fighting bigotry in our own families, in our own towns. Think of this girl, and to drive 500 miles, that's what hit me about this story. It's not just that he got angry, you know, that he had a reaction in the moment. He had 500 miles to calm down and think about this daughter that he loves, and he didn't. He still got there and went beyond that. You know, we are still fighting on behalf of the next generation to make the world better for them and to protect them. And sometimes the people we're protecting them from are in their own houses.
And it's not just in France. I mean, I see it here with my students. I've had some of them confide in me how they would love to come out to their parents, but there's still religious bigotry. There's still all that Southern homophobia, and they're scared. They really are scared.
And a reminder that coming out is important for your own journey, but coming out is your journey in your time. And because I get people that ask me, and I tell, you know, there are times when coming out isn't the best decision for you. If you will be unsafe, if you are financially dependent,
that's what I ask.
It is okay to do what is best for your life journey, in addition to your personal journey with your gender identity or orientation. Just a reminder.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a much lighter thing, I read this story and just thought it was sort of fascinating. A new set of letters between J.M. Barrie, who's on the right, the novelist and playwright best remembered for Peter Pan, and Robert Louis Stevenson on the left, the writer of Treasure Island, have been revealed after being discovered in a dusty box of letters in a Yale archive, just sitting in a box. The men started writing each other in 1892, both Scottish, but Stephenson, who was older and had already published Treasure Island when they started writing, lived on the island of Samoa to improve his health. A year into their friendship, Barrie wrote to him saying, "To be blunt, I have discovered, have suspected it for some time, that I love you. And if you had been a woman, ... The rest of the sentence is unfinished, but that's literally what he wrote in the letter. After Stephenson died in 1894, his letters to Barrie were published, but Barrie's side has been lost for more than a century. His letters, some of which run to 3,000 words long, include this declaration of love, wishing he would meet Stephenson and fantasizing that the pair were actually distantly related in order to open up to Stephenson about his close relationship with his mother. Dr. Michael Shaw, who discovered the letters, is publishing a new book called A Friendship in Letters. said, what's revealed in these letters, it took me a while to discover the full extent, is the influence both Stephenson and the correspondents have on Barrie. I mean, that's a rather overt declaration to me. If you had been a woman, ... You know, and certainly we can't assume that that means like, you know, maybe I'm just drawn to your mind. Maybe there was no other sort of direct sexual attraction to someone he's never met, but that's pretty overt. And it seems like Barrie was basically a fangirl to Stephenson. Like, I can't believe you're writing me back. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, da 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 da. And I just found it sort of charming. And it always makes me wonder, what if, you know, if for people who lived in eras where there weren't even words or public discussion of who we are.
It's like Jonathan did David, like Jonathan and David in the Bible.
Absolutely.
Surpasses that of a woman. So, oh, and also fun news. Elton John is getting his first Barbie doll. It's a brand new limited edition styled like the fashion icon. It's wearing rainbows, glitter, and of course, some giant pink statement sunglasses. According to Mattel, the Elton John Barbie doll is a bold collaboration that personifies two cultural icons and honors the extraordinary artistry and musicianship of a stellar performer. Elton John told Rolling Stone, Barbie is an icon in her own right, so having her pay tribute to my work and personal style is a real honor. I hope she inspires fans everywhere to fearlessly pursue their own dreams and limitless potential. The doll, designed by Caroline Emerson, I believe is the way you say it, marks the 45th anniversary of John's legendary record-breaking two-night concert at Dodger Stadium in 1975. And you know, it's not, I expected it to be more. It's only $50.
I mean, also to be clear, obviously, y'all, it's not a Barbie of Elton John. It's Barbie dressed as Elton John. That's not meant to look like Elton. I just love it. It looks like Barbie the ally. You know, like she's ready for a pride parade. Like Barbie's ready to march with the community.
She's a fangirl. She's a fangirl.
I loved it so much. Okay, I want to share this video with y'all because it's been taking a little more work in these really intense times to find lighthearted stories. And I keep getting this ad on Instagram. And I want to see if anybody else is getting it, because I just find the articulation of this absolutely hilarious for some reason. All right, here we go.
I am here talking about my new favorite product. We're talking Solo Lotion. This is a product just made for your special me time.
Your special me time.
Typical nightstand lotion. This is Solo Lotion. It's coconut oil based. It transforms as you play. It is super amazing because it turns into this like gliding, sliding lotion, which is dope. And I think you should order some today.
Okay. What is it? He just say lube?
And I just transforms into what? It's just what does it?
I think the implication is it starts as like a thicker liquid, and then as you work at it, so to speak, like you know, like you're tubining down there. That it like loosens and glides more. But I just thought the amount of entendres that it took for that it's called Solo Lotion, SO-LOW. Like
for me time.
It's like your great grandmother talking about it. It's Solo Lotion for when you need some personal time down there. It is not your standard nightstand lotion. Lube. It's a lube lotion. Just sir. It's a lube.
I'm gonna stick with gun oil.
They're like just a little bit easier.
I just like it. I'm used to it. I don't need it. Transforms only at the end.
Surprise!
Okay, so a new book released this month called "Loving: A Photographic History of Men in Love." 1850s to 1950s collects photographs of male romance over the course of a century, with many images taken secretly so the lovers didn't get caught. The book covers more than 100 years of social history reflecting changing fashions, hairstyles, and societal norms, as well as the development of photography. The range of individuals covers 19th century working class men, fashionably dressed businessmen, university students and soldiers and sailors of all ages. One pair holds up a sign that says "Not married."
Pause. You're reading through this like the world's ending. I have these photos. I can share them. So just
okay. One pair holds up a sign.
Hold on. Pause.
That
look,
says,
there they are. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Look. And then there's the sign, not married, but willing to be. Oh, and approximately 120 years ago. Wow. Another is a pair. Notice how I slowed that down, y'all. Exchanging rings in 1900. This one from 1910 says cowboy dance stag.
Hold on. Pause, please.
We're going to get to that. I like that. Cowboy dance
think
stag.
About that. They willing to be married. They were holding up a sign saying willing to be married 120 years ago. That's bonkers. All right, there's your stag. It's the original roundup.
The roundup. This one, this one from 19. Okay, I'm sorry, cowboy stag. You got me all mixed up, Emerson. All of the photos are from the collection of Hugh Nini and Neil Treadwell, and it started when they found an old photo of two men clearly in love at an antique shop in Dallas. This one of two men in the snow in the Alps in Austria is from 1945. One soldier kept it hidden in a shoebox, and in the early 90s, he gave them to a relative with the ring he wore in the photo and said, "Please keep this safe for me." And then he died 2 years later. The note on the back of this photo of sailors eating ice cream said, "Ice cream is so good on a hot day. Smith and Wade, still in love."
And
it said "still in love?" Question mark. I wonder why they said
like they wondered. I found that so fascinating. You know, it's like clearly somebody else is photo, right? And so they were like, Smith and Wade, still in love? Because I wondered with some of these, I was like, that could just be like a bunch of sailors hanging out, you know, being comfortable with each other. But the caption tells you, Smith and Wade were once in love. Are they still?
Yeah. Wow. What a wonderful book of history. It says that there's 300 images and it's available now. Guardian.com. Okay. So there you go. I wouldn't mind having that.
I know. I just thought about like, one, the danger of taking some of these photos, you know, like it's at times where it could have been so dangerous for anyone to know, period. And then also to go to the trouble to take photos 100 years ago, taking a photo.
That could be exposed, literally.
Yeah.
They could be exposed.
There were genuine laws and genuine, you know, physical danger. I think about like the fear I had of holding my boyfriend's hand my first boyfriend's hand in public in the Dallas neighborhood, and then think of these couples 100 years ago. I just found them beautiful and inspirational and a reminder that though we are not always seen, we have always been there.
Yes, we sure have. Maybe not out and proud, but we are now.
I don't know if everyone saw. I just thought it was important we end. Beto O'Rourke made a very important announcement that he is a top.
Oh, good. I was hoping.
The Texas organizing project. I mean, also he knew when he wore this, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I was hoping he was the bottom, but okay.
You know, or at least
versatile. Yeah, a little versatile. Anyway, well, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you another hour, Emerson Collins. I will be watching your show. I can't wait. And
on Friday, Dale will give us his review of the show.
Absolutely. I will have watched it by then. And I just people are saying a hurricane is coming. It's not coming in this far. We're going to get rain. So don't worry about me. I will be all right. I will be okay. Thank you for the concern.
And we do appreciate all of you joining us earlier in the daytime while Dale wraps up his Louisiana adventure. Gosh, you are almost done. But to our late night crowd, the regulars who will be watching back later, hello. We're grateful for all of you.
Hello.
I get messages from people later on. So people do watch back, and we are really grateful to y'all.
When you said hello, it reminded me that I have not seen it, but Saturday Night Live with Adele, I can't wait to watch when I get home. And the clips looked amazing.
It was so great. Michael said Beto could top him. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Adele really was exquisite. I mean, she's hysterical. Somebody needs to get her in a supporting role in a comedy. I loved it.
And by the way, you said Adam Schiff, but Adam has been my friend for probably 30 years now, and I'm so glad to see you in our podcast today. So, hey, Adam.
We enjoy you. And as always, we do work hard to bring you a good and entertaining show. If you want to send us a tip, you can do that on Venmo to @EmersonCollins or on PayPal to beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com. 7 days, y'all. We are all going to get through this week. I swear we will.
Yes, we will. I love you guys. I love you, Emerson Collins. I will see you on Friday.
Everybody, get your electrolytes. Breathe deep.